Assalamu alaikum. Sanibonani Dumelang. Good evening, everybody. We're really here to listen to an outstanding human being who has been doing so much for the people of Palestine and the bleeding people of Gaza. And Dr. Comrade Mads, we're waiting to hear that. I want to get over with my speech and the others as well, so that we can get this first-hand report. But obviously, there are a few things that we've been asked to present here, and there is the aspect of how we analyze the situation in brief, and most important, because out of clarity of understanding, and I'm not saying you don't understand at all, but we all need to understand from the same book in order that we advance and we act in solidarity with the people of Palestine, the people of Gaza, at this moment of their greatest need. So I am going to be followed by other speakers, including my comrade Nazir Adam, who will speak about what we can do now, immediately, with the ceasefire, with what our government should do, with what we should do as civil society, people on the ground who can make a huge difference. And I'll come back to that as with everybody on Earth, on this dear mother planet, every decent human being that is, and it's a planet in conflict, in struggle for a better future for all, including our children, including babies who are in incubators, who are coming into life, the women, the children, the elderly, to make a better world, a better South Africa, and a world where Palestine is free. And let me just start, by the way, with a slogan, what we love, and yet in Western countries, it's being banned. And I'm sure you're all aware of a woman who has just been sacked by Rishi Sunak, who's making so much money, the wealth of his family comes out of intelligence technologies, which is within Israel itself. Well, he had to get rid of somebody the British are calling not Suella Braverman, but Cruella. And this stupid woman, you've heard her say that as Home Affairs Minister, they should ban this anti-Semitic slogan, a slogan of hate, which goes, free, free Palestine from the river to the sea. So for Dr. Mad, I want you to know how here in democratic South Africa, we don't have these bans, and we enjoy pouring out from our hearts that we are Gaza, we are Palestine, we are human beings, and let's all give it vent. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. From the river to the sea. Free, free Palestine from the river to the tree. Siyabonga kakhulu, you're a great audience, and it's a great welcome you're giving to our guest here. We are hearing statistics day after day. They sear into our hearts and our minds. We're living with the pain of the people of Palestine. But we have to pay attention to these statistics that grow day after day. And already today, the statistic is 11,500 Palestinians murdered, 75% women and children, 4,500 children. We've seen them, these babies, the 3-year-olds, the 5-year-olds, with the parents running into these smashed hospitals with the bleeding children or the dead children. We see the old people wounded. We see the women in anguish. It is horrendous. Everyone, every number is a human being, like everyone sitting next to you, like the children at home. This is the biggest crime since that Holocaust, which wasn't only against Jews, by the way. There were millions who were slaughtered. And that's a real sin of Zionists, that they only pay attention to the Jews who died. I come from a Jewish background, and I can tell you, I know how insidious these people can be. Don't be charmed by the smiles of your business associates and kids at school, etc. It is horrendous, it's ethnic cleansing, it is genocide, and we use those terms. And it's utter murder, it's utter murder. And when we talk about numbers, we are South Africans. Mads here, he knows of Sharpeville. 69 people were butchered on the 21st of March 1960, and 200 were wounded. 69. Do your arithmetic. I'm not that great, and I don't have a calculator. But to me, it seems, Mads, that there are something like 7 or 8 Sharpevilles that have been taking place every day since the 7th to the 8th of October, every single day. That's the crime of that magnitude. Can you imagine? And when that one Sharpeville occurred in March of 1960, why is it that most of the world, even those Western former colonial powers, in their timid way, apart from their citizens, and certainly not like people in the global south or other parts of Europe, but the former colonial powers that support Israel to the hilt, and that's the US and those former colonial powers of Europe. How is it that they came down on apartheid South Africa, and that today, with the equivalent of 7 Sharpevilles a day going for 5 weeks now, they still allow Israel the green light to do what Israel wants? And it's what we learned in South Africa in our struggle, and what we still face. And that is that the United States, the leading butcher in the world, don't have the time to go through the record, the criminal record, and countries like Britain and France and Germany, the key ones, and the others, give the green light. And if anybody dares to say, including a Jewish history teacher the other day in Israel, who said to his class, you can't just look at the 7th of October and think that's the beginning, and therefore the Palestinians are murderers and have created this. Look at the context, he said to the class. Understand the context. I don't have the time. You know the context. Going way back, 1948, even years before, with the Zionist colonial settlement, which became an apartheid state. And that man was arrested and put in prison. That's the nature of this fascist state that Zionism has created, because that's the nature of Zionism. It's like Afrikaner nationalism, absolute extremism. It's totally exclusive of other people, just for a Jewish state. And the fact that we've got to get rid of the Palestinians, which is what we're seeing now from 1948, Nakba, 1967, more refugees, the situation today, I think you're all clear, because if you listen to what the damned gangsters who run Israel are saying, from Netanyahu to his army generals and others, that we're mowing the lawn, we're getting rid of the Palestinians, they'll go and live in Sinai, and if not, let 50 countries in the world take 20,000 Palestinians each and settle them there. And you see the samud, the determination, the steadfastness of the Gazan people and the people of the West Bank. They will not move, they will not move. They will not be refugees. No. We have said over and over, those of us from South Africa who ever went there, I went there twice as a minister, in 2004 with Comrade Aziz Pahad on the delegation. We met Yasser Arafat after he'd been bombed in Ramallah, and I went again in 2007. Not just me, but so many South Africans from the struggle. They came back and they said, it is worse than apartheid, worse than apartheid. And Archbishop Tutu in 1989 said, it's as bad as apartheid, but it got much worse. So let me come to the end here. First point I want to make is understand the context and why desperate people who stood up for the right to resist attacked the Israeli military bases around Gaza, and my goodness, they actually smashed them and showed that Israel is not invincible. And whatever happened after in the local villages and kibbutzim, it wasn't just the Hamas people who killed. There are Israeli survivors who said, you know, the Hamas people who held me hostage, the lady from a kibbutz said, was very polite. The man even asked me politely if he could have a banana from a plate. He was fine. People died when the Israeli soldiers came in with planes, helicopters, and tanks and mowed everybody down, whether they were Jews or whether they were Hamas. So this figure that they've given, you've got to take into account how many people were actually murdered by their own side, who don't care about the hostages. You can see what Netanyahu, they don't care, they're fascists. They don't even care about their own people. They just want to dominate, and they want to crush the Palestinian people once and for all. Okay, thanks. So that is the right of resistance, which Dr. Mads, we adopted in South Africa because there was no other way but to take up weapons and struggle. And the Palestinians have the right to do that. And we stand by that, the right to resist. And in relation to the right to resist, it's up to those who resist to deal with their methods. And we believe, and I'll tell you, I believe, having been a freedom fighter, never facing what the resistance has to face in the West Bank or in Gaza, that nevertheless, don't succumb to despair, that the Israelis and the American support, the Bidens or the Trumps, it's capital America, imperialist America, they are in deep trouble. They don't know how to get out of the problem. The contradictions are immense in both Israel, in the USA, and in those Western countries. And you can begin to see and hear how Biden and Blinken and those in Europe are beginning to start changing their tune a little because they're getting very embarrassed by the fact that unlike 1948, the world is seeing the genocide carried out on television screens. So that's basically the scene I wanted to set, and to leave you with the following major point that I want to make. That whilst the resistance lives and survives and fights back, and there are Israeli invaders who are dying, they talk about 44. There are obviously many more. And they're dead scared to get into those tunnels. And I was just reading something today from an Israeli observer who had been into Gaza, who discovered that the Israeli troops don't get out of the tanks and the armored cars, not even to go to the toilet. Seriously. That the guy reports that these guys, these cowards, are sitting in their tanks and their armored cars, and they are wearing under their pants these nappies for adults. Seriously. It's a small little insight, but this is the case. Every day, every week and month that the resistance holds out and the Gaza people hold out and refuse to leave their Gaza Strip is deeper trouble for the Israelis, and you know the contradictions that Netanyahu faces, and for the US and for Western Europe. That's going to spell a major crisis in Israel and in the collective West. So it comes to the point, and I'm not elaborating here, others will, including Comrade Nazir, it's what do we do? And I'm leaving you just with the reminder that in our struggle, we found that international solidarity and the boycott, divestment, and sanctions campaigns isolated Pretoria regime, strengthened the struggle of our people, put pressure on those same Western countries that stand by Israel, who in the end had to buckle under the inner contradictions they were facing in their system and the protests from the streets. And we see this, millions already. We saw this in Cape Town on the weekend. Here, in the economic hub of Johannesburg and the Reef, where the trade unions, comrade, are so vital, and the workers, but all of us from all sectors, including the Jews, for justice for Palestine, a smaller group as they are, all together we create a profound power from the streets and from civil society, and to pressurize a government which is beginning to really take much stronger steps. And I'm sure Comrade Nazir will remind you of the role that Cyril Ramaphosa now is playing in terms of isolating South Africa, Israel, taking the Israeli ruling regime and the generals to the international court and so on. And if South Africa, through our impassion and our urgent and our demands, pressurizes government, gets behind Naledi Pandor, our courageous foreign minister who has been standing up, then, comrades, friends, we can take the kind of stand that small Bolivia in Latin America, the first country to do what South Africa should take in the lead with, and that is send the ambassador packing and cut off all ties cut off all ties with apartheid Israel. And this is really how we can strengthen the resistance in Palestine. So please, please give all of your energy, your support, your mobilization to this growing protest against the slaughter of the people of Palestine. We can do it, and we can win. Viva Palestine, viva! Free, free Palestine! From the river to the sea. Aman, Thank you.